It began as a miracle. The earth was healing. Forests regrew at record speeds, air pollution dropped, plants bloomed in places long thought dead. Scientists were baffled, but people celebrated. Nature, it seemed, was bouncing back stronger than ever. But then the changes became strange. Trees started growing faster than ever recorded. Roots broke through concrete streets overnight. Entire buildings were swallowed in vines within days. At first, it was beautiful. People called it the Green Surge. Then came the silence. In remote towns, people began disappearing. Rescue teams sent in never returned. Drones captured eerie images, towns completely overgrown, cars abandoned, and streets covered in moss. But no bodies, just plants. Everywhere. The first major city fell in just one night. Massive flowers burst through the asphalt, releasing clouds of yellow spores. Anyone who inhaled them stopped moving, then smiled. They simply walked into the forests and vanished. Some said the plants had connected with their minds. Others said they were no longer human at all. Governments tried to act. Forests were burned. Herbicides sprayed from planes. But the plants adapted. New vines developed immunity. Leaves grew resistant. And worse, they fought back. Spiked roots would shoot up from the ground and pierce machines. Trees shifted positions, cutting off roads and isolating cities. Nature wasn't healing anymore. It was defending itself. And it saw humans as the infection. Soon the planet turned green again. Skyscrapers crumbled under pressure from monstrous trunks. Cities were buried in jungles. Crops turned toxic. Even home gardens betrayed their owners, releasing pollen that triggered paralysis. People began wearing masks, locking themselves inside, sealing windows, but it didn't matter. Seeds found ways in. A new form of intelligence had emerged. The plants were not random. They grew with purpose. They surrounded military bases, disrupted satellites, blocked sunlight from solar panels, and then they waited. Humans ran. They dug bunkers, fled underground, but even there, the roots followed. It wasn't war. It wasn't chaos. It was quiet, calm, complete. The earth returned to its wild, ancient self, untouched by metal, concrete, or electricity. The last few humans looked out at the world they once ruled, now covered in a sea of green. Some say the plants evolved from our experiments. Others believe it was Earth's way of defending itself, an immune system reacting to a parasite. We'll never know, because by the time we noticed, it was already too late. He didn't know how long he had been alone. Time didn't matter anymore. Not when the sun barely reached the earth through the canopy of mutated leaves above. His name was Thomas, once a botanist, now a ghost in the ruins of civilization. He had survived the initial surge, not because he was stronger, but because he understood plants. He knew how they moved, how they communicated, how they killed. And more importantly, he knew how to listen. The air was thick with spores. One breath could twist your thoughts, make you walk straight into the roots. So he wore a handmade filter, layers of charcoal, cloth, and hope. Every morning he'd wake up in silence. No birds, no insects, just the creaking sound of vines tightening around the old world. Thomas moved underground during the early weeks, inside an old hydroponic lab built beneath a university. Ironically, the very place where humans once tried to control plants became his only shelter from them. He learned their signals. When the moss on the wall shifted, it meant something nearby had sensed him. When the vines pulsed slowly, it was safe to move. He became fluent in nature's new language. He collected rainwater, ate from canned goods, but food was running low. The plants above had killed livestock. Rivers had been choked by roots. The earth was green but barren for humans. He remembered stories of other survivors, groups who tried to fight back. They built flamethrowers, suits, machines. None of them lasted. The plants didn't just defend, they learned. And they remembered. Thomas knew fighting was pointless. His only option was to adapt. One day, he discovered something strange. A type of fungus growing deep underground. It didn't glow like the others. It didn't pulse. It was still, quiet. He studied it. It seemed to block spores, mask his scent. He began applying it to his clothes, walls, and even his skin. That's when the plants stopped reacting to him. For the first time, he walked outside, and they didn't move. It was terrifying and liberating. He moved through abandoned cities, gathering supplies. He left messages carved into stone. Cover yourself in the black fungus, they won't see you. He wasn't trying to save the world, just anyone who might still be out there. Years passed, or maybe decades. Now Thomas lives in a treehouse deep in the green. He grows the black fungus. He waits. He watches. Sometimes he sees shapes in the distance. People, animals. He doesn't know. He never calls out. Sound travels, and the plants still listen. He writes in a journal, though no one may ever read it. But maybe one day, a child will grow up in this world, covered in fungus, hidden from the vines, a human, not in control of Earth, but in harmony with it. And maybe, just maybe, that's what survival really means.